You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host, Keith Angle, on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk right here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. How are you today? What a beautiful Sunday morning here in East Greenbush, New York. We're the first live streaming webcast from East Greenbush. Welcome in. We got a big show today. We only got a few minutes before we'll be joined by Byron Williams, former Eagle and Giant and CFL wide receiver, and Jim Jeffcoat, former two-time Super Bowl winner, not former, he'll always be that, Super Bowl winner with the Dallas Cowboys, also play with the Buffalo Bills, but they will be starting a new show here on Northeast Streaming Sports Network, which I believe will air exclusively on our YouTube channel. We'll talk more about that with Byron and Jim in a few minutes. We'll also going to be talking some other NFL news. We'll get into a little bit about that, with Byron and Jeff as well. We'll talk some Major League Baseball. Got Mark Mancini from Mancini Sports coming on at 10:30. We'll dive into the American League. We covered the National League in depth as we hit the stretch run. We'll talk with him at 10:30. We'll also cover some other baseball news and some other NFL and college football news. We did have, I want to thank my guest, by the way, from Friday, Darrell Evans, former Brave, Giant, Tiger. We had a great conversation, and it was very well received, so thank you for that. Again, I want to thank, as always, all the groups that allow us to share the show to them. I added a bunch of them this weekend so that the Cowboys and Giants and Eagle fans can get to hear from Jeff and Byron today about their new show. I do see Byron in the waiting room. Got to see if Jeff pops in quickly before I bring Brian in, and if not, I'll bring Byron in so he doesn't wait too long in the waiting room there. So lots to talk about, guys. Plus your comments. Welcome, Drew. Drew Ehrlich is in the room today. Thank you. It is my birthday today. If you didn't see my Facebook post, I was also found out yesterday that I'm a lord. I found out I have a 1 foot plot in Scotland, which officially makes me a lord. I don't know what I can do with that 1 piece of land in Scotland in my lifetime, but I will be addressed as my lord from now on by those who know me and those who don't. And those who don't, I don't know what will happen because I really don't know what my authority is as a lord. Anyway, lots of good stuff going on today, guys. I'm glad everybody could make it on this beautiful morning. Good morning, Rick Sherlock. Good to see you. Everybody beat Dave Guyette this morning. And welcome back to Drew. Drew did miss last week's show as he had some family obligations, I believe. So welcome back. Guys, so much to talk about. We'll get into the Field of Dreams game later. We'll talk about the NL races. It's amazing what's going on in that NL West. The Mets collapsing still in the East. And lots to talk about in football, too, with the preseason finally getting underway. And the debuts for quite a few guys, and Trevor Wilson and Justin Fields and on and on. Zach Wilson, my guy, Mac Jones. Kellen Mond played yesterday, and also some others. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I guess what we'll do, since Jeff is not here yet, I'm assuming he'll be in a few minutes, we'll get Byron in here just to say hi to Byron, and we can talk to Byron for a few minutes. Good morning, Byron. How are you today?
Good morning. How you doing, Keith?
Good to talk to you. Byron is a veteran contributor at Northeast Streaming Sports and the Mac and Jack show. We've overlapped a few times there, you and I, and I've always enjoyed that. And I want to congratulate you before Jeff gets here. I guess I'll do the same with him on your new venture on Northeast Streaming Sports. It's J&B, Talking Shop, correct?
Correct. J&B Talking Shop. Yeah, we're just going to be talking some locker room football and some exciting guests will be on our show. So we're excited about it.
Great. And you're debuting, I believe, and we'll talk about it a couple of times, September 1st, 8 o'clock. Is that right? Is that Central or Eastern time, by the way?
I think it's Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central time, and it'll be on Wednesdays in the middle of the week.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I watched your last little, practice round. I don't know if that went live or not, but I did see it on Northeast Streaming Sports, and you guys are going to do a great job. I know that. Tell us, Brian, Byron, why we got you, we'll talk a little bit about your career before Jeff gets here. You played in the NFL. I believe you were drafted by Green Bay originally, if I'm not mistaken. Ended up in Eagles camp, but really played with the Giants for a few years before they actually hit the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, you didn't make it that far. But tell us a little about your career in football.
Yeah, I was originally drafted in the class of '83 by the Green Bay Packers. Bart Starr was the coach. I had broken my ankle my senior year in college, so I did get drafted in the 10th round, the 253rd player taken in that draft. That's a great draft of Elway Marinos and Eric Dickerson, Craig James, and those guys. Yeah. And got a chance. I was the very last guy that was released, and Coach Starr told me that was one of his hardest decisions. And then in the middle of me making the transition, the Eagles had picked me up, and they had some defensive backs to get hurt. I was there with the Eagles for 4 weeks, and then Bill Parcells signed me with 8 games left to go in this season. And I had 3 100-yard games the last 4 games of my rookie year, and so that's how my career got started with the Giants. And then I just had, I had 3 good seasons with the Giants, caught over 1,000 yards, 59 receptions. And then I went up and set out 86, the year that the Giants won the Super Bowl. And 87 was the strike year. And then I signed with the Indianapolis Colts and got released. And then I went to Canada for a while.
Yeah.
I was playing up there. So it was good. I was active from '83 to '94 playing football.
What was it like playing for Bill Parcells?
It was really good. Good experience for me. We had some good conversations. I remember when I first met him, he asked me about my mom and my dad, how's Columbus and Lorraine. And I said, wow, this guy knew more about me than any other coach I ever met.
He did his research.
Yeah, he did his research, and I never forget this. I left my playbook in training camp, and he allowed me to drive his car to the hotel room to get my playbook. And he just said, "Don't do that again, rookie." So I kept up, just some lessons that well learned that you can always remember with Coach Parcells. He's personal. He loves his players, and players love him. And I think that's why he get the most out of his players, because he's that type of coach.
What? And you had obviously I don't know who the offensive coordinator was then. It wasn't Ray Handley, was it?
No, it was Earhart.
Oh, that's right, Ron Earhart. Yeah, right.
Ron Earhart, and he was the offensive coordinator those years.
Yeah. And obviously there was another, I guess, fairly well-known coach on that staff, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he was our defensive coordinator. He was our defensive coordinator, and we call him Rack, which is he used to be the head coach for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rack was our special team coordinator. But we had a real good staff. I mean, it was always good. We had exciting guys, just a good group of guys, hard-nosed guys, come from all over the place. And Parcells just knew how to put great talent together,
I've never had the chance to ask you this, but going to the CFL, what was that like compared to the NFL? Was the play even close to NFL caliber? Did you enjoy it there? What was your experience like there?
I really enjoyed it. I played 8 years up there. It was good. The field was wider, 10 yards wider. Of course, the end zone's 20 yards, and you got one extra guy on the football field. So it's a fast-paced game. You got 3 downs to make the first down.
Right.
No fair catch. So it keep you going, but it's only a 30-man roster. So you only got 20 you have 20 Canadians, and then you have like 19 or so U.S. guys. So it's a task, and it's you have to play. If you're on the roster, you're gonna be playing quite a bit. So you be in shape, and but it was a fun game. I enjoyed it.
That's good. That wide field, and the fact that you can get 1 point for missing a field goal is always interesting to me to see. So
yeah, if you don't run the ball out the end zone, if you get kicked in the end zone, if you don't run it out, you get 1 point. So
yeah,
it's always interesting to keep up with the scores.
it's a rouge, I believe, right? My favorite CFL term is a rouge.
Yeah, it was a rouge, exactly. Yeah.
What about influences on your career? I mean, we talked about the fact that Bill Parcells was your first coach. Well, he wasn't your first coach, I guess. Dick Vermeil, you had that interaction with. Bart Starr, as you mentioned.
Right.
Of those guys, I mean, or other guys, who had the most influence on Byron Williams' career?
Well, I think my father, who was an Army guy, he was an Air Force guy, but he worked for the Army Depot for 30-some years in my hometown. And then my high school coach, Coach Reed, had one of the biggest influence on me. And he assured me that I had not only some talent on the football field, but he gave me $20 every 6 weeks for making the AB honor roll. And so that inspired me to make good grades. And so those guys, as well as my parents, were just a big influence. And getting a chance to meet Coach Tom Landry up close when we went to the Combine, and Bill Walsh sending me a personal letter after the Combine. Those coaches, and you did say Coach Starr and Coach Parcells, Coach Dick Vermeil, he announced our games in the World League. I was the #1 receiver in the World League in '91. And he was an ABC newscaster and sportscaster, as well as, those guys just keep inspiring you and keeping you just uplifted on your talent and your ability. No matter what stage or level that you're participating in, I think good people are coming into your circle. So I think you have to just be aware of those people and keep living your life based on what you want to become and what you want to do.
Excellent life influences, it sounds like. And you, Byron, since Jeff's not here yet, we're going to have you continue to carry this interview, so bear with me. After you got done playing, I mean, where Jeff, I mean, he had a longer career and he stayed in the league as a coach.
Right.
You still contributed back. You were the president of the NFL Players Association in the Dallas chapter. You've done a lot with the youth of the community in Dallas, right? And probably other communities. Tell us a little bit about some of those endeavors, Byron.
Right. I became president in 2012 here in Dallas of all the retired players and got elected. This is my third term. I just got reelected back in March. And not only that, I'm on the executive board of the NFLPA, which overseeing 3 additional chapters. And we have 8 more guys that are doing the same thing that I do. But we have 33 chapters that connected with these various cities where the majority of our retired players play, and we keep them engaged and informed about the collective bargaining agreements, all the benefits, and things like that. So I'm constantly talking to all kind of players, helping them set up the golf tournaments, helping them set up all kind of case scenarios, keeping them engaged within the community, as well as other things that we do in off seasons. And then we visit the NFL teams, and we go in and we talk to current players and talk about some of the things that they need to do once they get out of the current game and be a retired player. So it's really good to be a part of that. And over the course of the years, I've been doing that now over 15 years. And they have given me, another part to be excited about.
Awesome work, by the way. And guys, whenever at least when I know about it, and Byron, make sure I do know, because I always share it to my personal page and the TGI Sports Talk page and try to get people involved. I know I've tried to do it myself when I know about it. And I actually got a wonderful set of vintage New England Patriot cards out of one of my donations. So I really enjoyed that a lot. Mac tried to give me the Giant cards. I really didn't want those. It's bad memories.
Yeah. And I really have to thank you, too, for supporting the football camps that we do and some of the things we do with giving back into the school with the homeless kids and things of that sort. We really appreciate all your support as well.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to do it. I know the great work that you're doing, and I've said it to you a few times, and it's certainly heartfelt. We need more people giving back to the community, right? Keep these kids on the right path. So maybe the nightly news will change someday, and it'll be a little different than what we have to see day after day to day. So people like you can make a difference, and I'm glad you are. Looks like we might have a problem with Jeff showing this morning. So I know he was on with Mac this morning, wasn't he? Do you know?
I don't know. I've been pretty busy. I had some things to get done. In fact, I got to go and do a deal on speaking at my church this morning. And
Okay.
but I hadn't talked. I thought we did group email, and I thought he was saying that he was going to be on with us.
He
And,
did. He got back to me last night, actually, and I thought we'd be good, but who knows? Sometimes the time difference screws people up. Who knows? But
well, I know one thing. If Bill Parcells said you better be on, you better be on. So
right?
I won't have to get on Jeff and say, Jeff, maybe you probably should have had a conversation with Coach Parcells. I got fined $5,000 for being 1 minute late. So you definitely got to know that it's important to be on time.
Jimmy Johnson must have been a bit looser down there in Dallas. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Jimmy was probably fixing her. He was probably fixing her, things like that. So.
Yeah, I don't think Bill was that concerned about making a fashion statement, right?
Oh no. The tuna wasn't talking about fashion. He was talking about getting it done.
Well, if you got a few more minutes, we'll try to stretch and see if he does come in. I'd like to talk for a few minutes at least about today's Giants and what your view of the season to come is. It's a big year for Daniel Jones, as we know. A pivotal year in his career, probably. Right. Giants have done a really good job. I think they've got a really good defense, potentially a really good defense, and they've really done a great job of adding to the skill positions at wide receiver, obviously, and you've got Saquon Barkley coming back this year, hopefully healthy if you're a Giants fan. Tell us a little bit of what your thoughts are about this year's Giants.
Well, I'm really excited about it. I think this is one of the most year that Coach Judge have prepared them. I mean, they know his style of coaching now. I think the coaching staff is in place. Like you said, they had some good free agency. I think their draft was superb. He got some of the top players coming out of college. I just think Daniel Jones, I think he now should have his maturity level focus to where he can go in and have good pocket presence on where to throw the ball and know that the linemen the offensive line is maybe a key component to the success. But I think, they averaged 20 points, 21 points a game last year. I think now they could step it up to maybe another 7, 8 points. They'll be in they was in every game last year. And I just think if they can kind of stay healthy and, like you said, Barkley needs to be there to be a part of the big game plan. But now they added some weapons. Randolph, the tight end, is there. And so they got some good veterans that came in to add leadership on and off the football field. And I just think I'm excited about what can happen. The schedule is going to be pretty rough, but I think just looking at it from last year, I think they be prepared to be very competitive. I watched a little bit of the game last night against the Jets, and the Jets, they was focusing on Zach Wilson mostly, but I think the Giants gonna prepare themselves real well for the season coming up.
I think I really kind of think, and I've said this on my show and other shows that I've been on, that their season really hinges on Daniel Jones and how he protects the football and his continued progression. If he plays well, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape in that division, which, to kind of segue to that, I think that division is wide open. I think the Eagles are going to struggle no matter what Jamie, the Philly sports guy, says. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are in for some struggles this year. But I think the other three teams are fairly evenly matched. And it's going to be a dogfight in that division. How do you see that playing out, Byron?
Absolutely. I think the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Washington team going to be, Washington got a great defense. And Kirkpatrick, he just make things happen. So I just think it could probably come down to the team that stay the healthiest and being able to, win some good close games with some good key players. But it's going to be an exciting run down the stretch, with a 17-game schedule as well. It's going to be interesting to see because all last year they were juggling trying to see who was gonna win the East up until the last very week. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out this year.
It's funny you mentioned Fitzpatrick. There's no truth to the rumor that he was in the same draft you were in, is there? He did. It seems like he's been around a long time, but he wasn't in that draft, was he?
Hey, I tell you what, he have been everywhere, and he have made some good things happen. I mean, he's a exciting guy to watch play football. He brings excitement to the game. So yeah, he's been. I think he's been around 17, 18 years for sure.
I think I'm pretty sure the NFL's got a new quota system where they got to keep X amount of Ivy League players in the league. I think that's how he sticks around. He actually does. Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I get on him a lot because, it seems like he plays really well, gets a new contract, and then he remembers that, he's Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he really gets out of the gate really well, almost with every single team that he goes to. So that bodes well for the Redskins. I think Heineke's going to win that job eventually sometime during the season. That's just my feeling. But
yeah, they probably know for sure that they're going to probably play both quarterbacks, and they have to depend on both quarterbacks just because of the style of play and the thing in the long season schedule that they have. So yeah, I agree with you.
Since Jeff's not with us, I'll make you comment a little bit on the Cowboys and what's Dak Prescott looking like. Hope from that horrific injury last year, just an awful injury he had, and what you see their outlook. I mean, their draft was good. A couple of surprising picks, I guess, if from a not from a physical playing standpoint, but maybe from a character standpoint, but. With Micah Parsons, there's some questions there, but how do you see that all coming together in Dallas this year? And obviously Prescott's health.
Yeah, I think they moving some players around. I see, they got some receivers. They're moving in and out the lineup for us. A couple players ain't played yet, like Amari Cooper and Zeke hadn't played yet, but. I think they were decided, just based off the news I see here in Dallas, they were excited by how training camp went. They had something on the news last night that Dak's shoulder did test positive for some type of strain.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know how long they're going to have to deal with that. But right now, their defense is I saw the change of linebackers interchangeable, moving those guys around and being creative. And I see where they're playing a lot of their players on defense a little bit more to get their reps in. Offense, they've been sending players down, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they can do. But I hope that can be, fully healed. I know they had called the Yankees training staff about the shoulder that he was concerned with, right? So they were trying to get a lot of expert opinions about how to treat it and how to move forward with him on reps and things like that.
Yeah, are you surprised? I am that they didn't do a little bit better job of addressing a plan B if Dak wasn't 100%, at least to start the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think they're thinking that Gilbert is good enough to come in and add what they need for the backup, and I think they have another player called named Rush, and I just think they depend wholeheartedly on that. So. But you have to have two good, and as well as you have to have two good quarterbacks on every team in order to be sustainable and have a chance to win games.
Yeah, apparently I've got to put another $1 in my jar because I think I said Redskins again. Sorry, Facebook will be booting me again for crying out loud. It's an honest slip, Facebook. I swear to God. It's hard at 61 years old to stop calling a team the name that I've known them at since I was, old enough to know about football. So it makes it hard on us. Byron, before I let you go, I know you got some other obligations. I want to talk quickly about the show, J&B Talking Shop, which will debut on September 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we believe, on Northeastern Sports Network. It is going to be exclusively on YouTube, correct? The YouTube channel?
Correct. And, we're excited about it, and we're going to have guests. We're going to try to have guests from the Cowboys on the first show and a guest from the Giants on the first show. And,
well, let's let the Cowboys have the full reign here. Let's get your team represented.
Absolutely. I got a call of some of my Giant teammates and friends, and we're going to be competing on who we can get on the show. but it's gonna be a good show. Coming from the players' perspective, I think it's good, and just having it, coming from the locker room, we're gonna try to have it to where it's gonna be exciting and we'll have fun with it, and and it'll be players come from everywhere. And by me being a part of the NFL Players Association, we can tap into the resources of trying to get some key guys on from time to time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. For being a veteran of Northeast Streaming Sports, I want to welcome you guys aboard. Obviously, you've been a part of it, as I said, on Friday mornings, at least with Mac and Jack, pretty much since the beginning of their show, I think. And I follow Byron most every Friday. We don't talk about the same topics because the Giants and the Patriots do not really go together very good, especially on two specific Sundays. But I want to welcome you aboard. A great addition. I think having two guys like you and Jim who are actually players and know the games from that standpoint is so much. It's a great addition because there's guys like me and Jack. We didn't play the sports. We just talk and whatever pops in our head comes out of our mouths. And I think having you guys on who have actually experienced all this stuff will be a great addition. So thanks. Welcome welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on today to talk about it, Byron. And for my Friday show, any of the I don't want to say old timers, but any of the guys who have played back in the time you played or whatnot that you guys get on, you want to give them a referral for TGI Sports Talk. That's my Friday morning niche. Is some of the guys a nostalgia niche. So football guys are hard to come by. Baseball, they're everywhere. But the football guys are just kind of harder to reel in.
But what I do, I look through my roster here in Dallas, and I try to connect you with some of the guys, too, that could get on your show from time to time. And especially, there's a couple of Patriots there that live here in Dallas. And we'll definitely connect you with those guys and make it fun.
Definitely want the Patriot guys, man. I only got a few that I've been able to connect with on Facebook, and for whatever reason, maybe it's because I keep my Yankee logo up on my personal page. I got to get that down, put the Patriot logo back up. Maybe they'll respond to me.
Yeah, that'd be exactly.
Great.
But yeah, I make sure that I connect with you on some of the guys and make sure that we can get you some good guests on from time to time and make sure they can see it from a player perspective from time to time as well.
That'd be awesome. If there's anything I can do to help you guys out, I'll be more than happy to do that. Bring you on here from time to time as well to pump the show. We'll be happy to do that as well.
Well, I want to also say happy birthday to you, and also it's good to be a Lord Keith. That's a good sound. Being
a Lord is not as easy as it sounds. I've only been a Lord now for about 24 hours, and it's hard work. It's not as easy as you think, and it also doesn't go over as well with your wife as you think it would. I can tell you right now.
I can imagine. I used to call myself Lord Byron, but I had to delete the first Lord part, so I'm just Byron. So I understand what you're saying.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the birthday wishes. It's my this the 22nd time now. I've been 39 years old, so it's been a long road, and I hope it goes a lot longer.
Absolutely. Well, you have enjoyed your day, and thanks for having me on. And we're excited about the JFB Talking Shop coming on, and just being a part of the family and the team. So we really look forward to, and it was a good feel, Keith, this week to get football up in the air.
Yeah,
kicked off. So
it is fun. I'm looking forward to the debut of the show myself. So thanks again for coming on, Byron. If Jim comes on, I'll pop him in the room for a bit for sure. If he comes on at 10 o'clock for some reason. So
I'm gonna text him to see if he overslept.
No worries. You carried his water today, so he owes you for the next time apparently.
Okay. Well, thank you, Keith. Thanks for having me. You enjoy your day.
You have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So Byron Williams from the new J&B Talking Shop show. Byron, former Giant player, played 3 years and played very well for the early Bill Parcells teams, and unfortunately did not get a chance to participate in that 86 Super Bowl, which was a big moment, obviously, for the Giants. Let's get back here for a minute. Let's catch up on some comments here. We may have to kind of go off script if Jeff I'm sorry, if Jim Jeffcoat does show up here at some point, but we'll take it by ear. So we did say good morning to Rick and Drew. Who else has been in here? Richard Miller, thank you for the happy birthday wishes and welcome to the show this morning. Mickey Delaney, good morning, Mickey, out there in the state of Washington. I do know it's a 3-hour delay now, not 4 or whatever I was saying before. Yes, I did say Redskins. It's never going to end. Billy, don't tell Watson to be quiet. And now Mickey, after I thanked him for signing out so early, he calls me an old man. Good morning, Brett Cloutier. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, it is my birthday. As I mentioned at the top of the show, if you weren't there at the top of the show, I did find out yesterday that I'm also a Lord, an official Lord. I've actually got, I can't grab it now. I should have brought it with me. I have an actual declaration that declares me a Lord, and apparently I have a plot of land in Scotland that proves it. It's 1 square foot, and I plan on building on it in retirement. It's going to be very interesting how we can, live in that small space, but we'll see how it goes. I do not think you all need to call me my Lord during the show, though, because it just feels wrong. Anybody who wants to do it can feel free. Oh, Lord, right? Guys, let's continue with our little NFL theme here this morning. Obviously, then we'll be moving on to the to baseball, and we'll focus on all of just those sports probably today. I will have Mark Mancini on at 10:30. Last week we went through kind of the stretch run, looking at the National League and some of the contenders for postseason awards. I do want to talk with him today about the American League in the same kind of conversation, and we'll touch on the Field of Dreams game, which was, by the way, I think was just awesome. So it will. Well, you know what I'm thinking, Drew, is I can, and again, I'm going to need an engineering genius to do this, but I think I can take a 1x1 support and take it up in the sky and then just build a giant castle up. I'm not sure how well it'll work. Maybe we just, my wife might have to stay on one side of the castle. I'll have to stay on the other just so we don't, tip the balance of the scales here and we tip over. We can't have that, obviously. Jets. Good grief. It's funny. I'm going to dive into this because although I'm not a big proponent of getting excited about preseason games, this was kind of an exciting week, debuting the new season and new players debuting, quarterbacks especially. We had Trevor Lawrence debut yesterday. We had Justin Fields debut, Zach Wilson, Kellen Mond, Mac Jones, which we'll talk about. And I started to write down somebody else here. I don't remember who it was, but I'm sure I'll come across it. So what I think we'll do is we'll go through the scores real quick. You guys jump in with your comments, and you find the right. I'm getting so many banners now. I cannot keep up with them. Gosh. Let's look at the games quick, because most of the games have somebody or something I want to discuss. And it'll be about maybe their we're going to do this for maybe half an hour or so. But I think there's something to discuss about each team and my outlook for them going forward, and maybe the players that I talk about. I will not start with the first game on the schedule because it's my Patriots, and I don't want to necessarily make it look like I'm hoarding that that deal. The Steelers played the Eagles, and the Steelers won 24-16. Jalen Hurts did not play much. What we got? I'm going to try to keep an eye on your. I could put a golf hole and a flag with Lord Engel on it. That would be very Scottish of me. It would, wouldn't it? Great idea, Brett Cloutier. Hockey players get a bad rap, man. Brett is a very, very bright guy. Not much to chat about here. Jalen Hurts didn't play a lot. Joe Flacco played more than Hurts. I'm not a Jamie Paggs, who's a Philly sports guy, has his own shows on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. He guests on Mac and Jack a lot. He's a huge Eagles fan. Every team in Philadelphia he will dress up for. He's a super fan. And the Eagles actually, he's able to travel to away games and such because of his affiliation with the Eagles, and he's helping promote probably a travel organization that puts together road trips for every Eagles game, and I think he gets to go. I don't know the whole deal. He might be able to talk about it sometime, but I think he gets to go because of him pushing these road trips. But anyway, I think the Eagles are going to be very good this year and be a contender for that division. I think they would be fortunate to win 5 games this year. I made a comment a few times that I think their ex-coach, Doug Peterson, will win 9 games in the NFL again before the Eagles do. We'll see. So not a lot to chat about in that game. Falcons and Titans debut for Pitts, the big pick. I think but by the way, I think Pitts is the tight end is going to be possibly. He will be the guy who has the most impact potentially on this season out of the gate. He's a generational player at his position. Great player. I don't think Matty Ice did more. If Matty Ice played, he didn't play much. Felipe Franks played most of the snaps for, I believe, for Atlanta. But again, I don't have much to talk about. The Titans win that game 23-3. I don't know that I'm not excited about the Titans, but I've never gotten excited about the Titans, and they played pretty well the last few years. I mean, they certainly play an old school game with running the ball with Henry. And Ryan Tannehill has played very, very well the last couple of years, surprisingly to me. But I think it's because they've kept him within himself. He doesn't have to carry the team, and I think that's a big deal. The Bills do beat the Lions 16-15. The Lions are in for a rough year this year, guys. The Goff Stafford trade I don't think is benefits them now. You know, Matt Patricia obviously did not do well there, and they've got a new head coach in Campbell, who, after a bit of a interesting introductory press conference, I think he's a good coach, and I think he will get them on the right track, but I think this is going to be a tough year for them. And the Bills, as we know, are very good. I do think the Bills will probably win the AFC East unless a team that I like a lot, the Patriots, get better quicker than I think they will. I'm a little surprised the Bills didn't add a running back, though, a real good running back in the draft. There were some available a couple times when they picked, and they did not upgrade that position. And they need to get better on defense, which I think they'll be better this year. Cardinals and the Cowboys. No, as you heard Byron say a little while ago, little concern in Dallas with the shoulder situation of Dak Prescott. His leg has been okay in camp, but some concern about his shoulder. The Cardinals adding J.J. Watt out there, I think, was a big boost for their defense. And I think that division, that NFC West, that's the strongest division in football. I don't think, and we'll probably get to them here in a little bit, I don't think the Rams are going to get the big upside from Matt Stafford as they think they are. He's a really good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing that I don't like about Matt Stafford except the fact he's never won a playoff game. And that's not all his fault, but they've had some talented teams in Detroit through the years where they could have done better than what they've done. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think he's an get me over the top type of quarterback. You know, one of the reasons the Patriots, I think, didn't get him from a lot of things I read where it's, you know, he's basically, they've had Matt Stafford before, and his name was Drew Bledsoe, who I loved. but Drew couldn't get over the top. He just wasn't that next level guy. No knock on Drew, no knock on Matt Stafford, other than I don't think they're at the top of, echelon of the game. The Bears beat the Dolphins yesterday. A couple of important things in this game, again, from a quarterback standpoint, which we're really kind of concentrating on mostly here today. Justin Fields played really well. Again, I understand he was playing against second and third stringers likely, but he was 14 to 20 with 142 yards and a touchdown. Looked very, very good. Tua played okay for the Dolphins. Kind of up and down. He came out and he played very well. Then he kind of fell backwards a little bit. Didn't play the whole game, obviously, but I think he was healthy. He looked healthy. That was the important thing, I think, for the Dolphins. He needs to be healthy for them to be able to make the next jump. Now, I think the Dolphins are good enough in every aspect of the game. That's the thing about the Dolphins. They're not just good. They don't stand out in any one aspect of the game. But they're good on offense. They're efficient on offense, defense, and something people do not put enough stock in, special teams. Special teams puts really good teams and makes them great. And those types of players, good special teams play, can put you up. And we will get a comment I knew out of Mark Robertshaw. Good morning, Mark Robertshaw. Fins up, big Fins fan. Again, I see a big battle in the East between the Patriots, the Bills, who I do think are the class of the division. Still, we'll see what happens. I think the Bills and Dolphins really will battle it out for potentially a wild card spot. And then the Jets, sorry, Jet fans. We'll talk about you in a second. I'm going to talk about the Patriot game now so I don't lose track of it. So we move forward here. They did beat the team formerly known as the Redskins, the Washington football team. Probably never to get a real name, apparently, it seems. 22-13. The big news here is Cam starts the game. Cam had an up and down performance. He was okay. Mac Jones got more reps, completed 11 straight passes at one point. Again, understanding they're not playing necessarily against the top guys. I get it. It's not about the numbers necessarily. What really was impressive about Mac Jones, both from seeing some of this game and because I was watching Field of Dreams the Field of Dreams game mostly, which we'll talk about later. What's his presence, his field presence, his command, not just of the playbook, but his command at the line of scrimmage, getting guys in the right positions when they're out of position, getting them in position where he can get them the football and maybe going off script just a little bit. He looks like a leader. And his numbers were good. Again, numbers are what they are in these preseason games, but he didn't throw any touchdowns, didn't throw any interceptions. There's a few drops. He could have had a touchdown that was dropped. But Mac Jones just played very, very well. And, as a Patriot fan, I'm going to tell you right now that Bill Belichick is not going to say this. But at worst, right now, after one preseason game, I see those two guys as dead even in this quarterback competition. And don't kid yourselves for a minute, no matter what Bill Belichick says, this is an out-and-out quarterback competition. This is not Cam's job to lose. If Mac Jones plays well, he's a starting quarterback of this team, and that is going to be an important step in the Patriots' development. I would like to see Mac Jones start from week one and learn, and this team will get better as the season goes on. Could be some, speed bumps along the way, but I think they'll do well. Let's get back to the other games. Rick Sherlock, I'm not sure you want to talk about the Vikings performance, but I will, again, give the caveat that this is preseason and scores and wins and losses don't necessarily matter. They can matter in the sense that, momentum is a good thing. The Baltimore Ravens, for instance, have not lost, believe it or not, have not lost a preseason game since, I believe, 2015. They've had some good years and they've had some bad years. So does it mean anything? I don't know. But I think it's an interesting stat. I think if they won last night, they did. I think they've won 18 in a row now, preseason games. I don't know what it means. The Broncos really beat up the Vikings yesterday, 33-6. Drew Lock played pretty good in his limited participation. He was 5 for 7 with 151 yards off of just 7 attempts. That's pretty good. I think we had some breakdowns in the defensive backfield there, Rick, for 2 touchdowns. I think on a plus side for the Vikings is Kellen Mond, who I love, by the way. Not sure, again, Rick, you can jump in here and tell me what you think. I like Kellen Mond. He didn't play great yesterday, only 6 of 16. I think he ran the ball a little bit. 5 for 25. I was a big Kellen Mond fan in college. When he was in college, not when I was in college. He would that would have been kind of impossible. But I think he's a guy who he's a project. He's not going to be able to play the next couple of years. You've got Cousins, and you're going to win or lose with Cousins as your quarterback, most likely. But I think Kellen Mond is a project worth having. I was doing a show called the NFC East show on Northeast Streaming Sports, and I was kind of the Washington contributor, not a fan. They didn't have a super fan to jump in there. 80-yard bomb given up after a safety, right? But I think Kellen Mond is a guy who, if the Vikings are patient, he could develop into a very, very good NFL quarterback. And I was surprised the Redskins didn't pick him in the draft. They didn't take a quarterback in the draft, very surprisingly to me, because he was a guy that I had projected in I said the Redskins. I owe money again. The team formerly known as the Redskins. Moving on. Browns and Jaguars. Anything interesting happening in this game? Oh, yeah. Well, the Browns won by 10, 23-13. But the big news that is Trevor Lawrence. This is his debut. He got off to a rocky start. But at the end of the day, I think he had a pretty good game. He was 5 of 9 for 71 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. But he acquitted himself pretty well for his first time out there. And again, this Jaguar team is going to be very interesting to me. Go back a little bit. 3rd pick, Kellen Mond. He needs to get his vaccine. He's already had COVID, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't mean he can't get it again, but you certainly don't want, again, another topic, this whole NFL, and we'll jump up. This is why we call it the Stream of Consciousness show, right? COVID and the NFL is going to be very interesting. And college football, by the way, because a lot of the college football leagues now have gone to this same type of policy that the NFL's instituted, that there will be forfeits. Games are not going to be made up and postponed. If a team has a COVID outbreak, and again, depends on a league in college, but in the NFL, if a game's, you're not going to see games postponed. They're going to be forfeited if one of these teams can't play. And I know Minnesota, I know the Redskins, they come to the top of my mind. I'm sure there's other teams that have had some COVID situations here through camp and have had very low vaccination rates. Guys, whatever you think about the vaccination, doesn't really matter. This isn't a political conversation when it comes to the NFL. The NFL has put in a policy that they're not telling you got to get vaccinated unless you're tier 1 staff, coaches, trainers, front office people. Players are not making get vaccinations. And again, whether they can or not depends. I guess they can. They've made the front office personnel get it. It all depends on the states and the state laws. Every company in the country is running into the same questions, or we're running into it. We have not returned to our office after a year and a half, and when we do, and it's been pushed back now a couple of months again. And then when we do, there's a lot of people asking about whether people need to be vaccinated or not. I don't really care. I'm going to stay away from people that aren't vaccinated. That's all. So it's going to be a very precarious situation in the NFL. The Ravens and the Saints, 17-14. Again, not that it's much. It is an interesting kind of footnote that the Ravens won I believe their 18th straight. Their 18th straight preseason game. They have not lost a game since 2015. I think that's kind of an interesting number. It means nothing, obviously. Some notes from this one. I know that Coach Payton was not happy with the fact that Winston and Hill turned the ball over 6 times. On the flip side, Ian Book got to play a little bit. He did throw an interception as well, but he was 9 of 16 for 126 yards. Another guy that I think was underrated in the draft. He's a guy that I was, to be honest with you, at the time, I'm a big Mac Jones fan now, but at the time I was hoping the Patriots would draft other needs and take a quarterback further back. Ian Book would be a guy that I would want to target. By the way, speaking of Notre Dame, Kenny Gifford, you guys have wondered where Kenny is the last few weeks. Kenny sent me a message this morning. Still in Facebook jail. I have gotten messages from him after the last couple of weeks' shows. He can't comment. He can see the show. He may be watching it on YouTube. I'm not sure. But he sends me some notes. I wish I could. Actually, I think he messengered me. I don't know how he can message me, but I think he did. Anyway, Kenny, if you're watching, good morning. So I know you guys like to know about Kenny's Sunday breakfasts. So that's why you haven't heard from Kenny. I think he's got 15 days left, if I understood his message right this morning. Let me just look at something. Bear with me. Let's just pull up Facebook quick and see if. Whoops. Jesus, what happened there? Hold on, guys. Don't let Keith work the controls. Let's see what we got here. See if Kenny has sent me anything since I sent him a message this morning. Maybe you guys will know what he's eating for breakfast. I don't know. Got a few messages here. Let's see if any are Kenny. And looks like my messenger is not going to open up. Can't help you out there right now. Maybe I will down the road here. I'll take a look back in a second. Let's get back on track. Lost stream of consciousness is all over the place. Jets beat the Giants 12-7 in the big intercity rivalry. Zach Wilson's debut game, very important moment, obviously, for the Jets. He didn't play the majority of the game. The immortal Mike White did. Zach Wilson was 6 of 9 for 63 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Certainly an acceptable debut. Yes, at least Kenny's not in a real jail. I agree, Rick. And by the way, Daniel Jones did not play in this game. Clayton Thorson and the immortal Mike Glennon, who I think might be as old as me, carried the weight. Zach Wilson played well. Mark White, by the way, here's the thing. I talked about a little bit with Byron and a backup quarterback situation in Dallas. The Jets, they did bring in J.J. Johnson, if I'm saying his name right. I think it's J.J. Johnson. who's been around a long time, and he'll bring a nice veteran presence. But they have not done a good job of having a plan B here if anything were to happen to Zach Wilson. Or he didn't play well. I mean, they're all in here, so he better not get hurt. They don't have an experienced quarterback other than Johnson on the quarterback or on the roster. Buccaneers against the Bengals. Not much to look at here. Take a quick look at the box score. You didn't have either. Well, Brady did play, 2 passes. Gabbard, who's likely going to be his backup, played okay. Enough to lose. And Kyle Trask, who was the number 1 pick, and probably they're looking at the heir apparent to Tom Brady when he retires at 60 years old, was only 4 for 15. A very, very bad debut. And the worst debut of all these quarterbacks, all these young quarterbacks. Other games of note. Titans, Packers. Jordan Love played okay. 12 of 17, 122 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad performance there. The Texans are just, the Texans are a train wreck. God knows what's going to happen there. Kenny's having bread and water. Kenny, I made you a huge topic of the show today. I'll back up to the Jets. Let me finish this here. I'll back up to the Jets in a second since Rick had a comment about them. So Jordan Love played. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. Deshaun Watson didn't play. But, they're in trouble. This Houston team, they're in so much trouble. Tyrod Taylor is probably going to be the starter there if something doesn't happen with Watson's status. Not a good situation there in Houston, obviously. Jets will be improved. I agree. I did say they'll finish last, and I don't think they're going to be in any competition at all for either division or a wild card. But what Jets fans need to be careful of this year is you can't look at wins and losses as a barometer of a good season this year. What they need to show is improvement in almost every aspect of the game. They've got the makings of a good defense. They've got some good players at skill positions. I love the kid from Mississippi, Moore, the wide receiver. I love Zach Wilson. But you can't expect them to come out there and win 10 games, 11 games this year. It's not going to happen. If the Jets win 5 games, they'll have had and they're competitive in other games, and they're not getting their ass kicked up and down the field, then the Jets have had a good season. I really think that the Jet fans have got to be careful because I know how fans are in New York. They get this top quarterback, and they made some other, nice moves in the first round of the draft. The Jets had a great draft. The kid from North Carolina, the running back they picked, love him. Love him. He went in a 4th round, I want to say. What's his Michael Carter, I think. Let me look at let's look quickly at their. We've got a few minutes to cover. Let's see. I think it was Michael Carter. There's a bunch of guys with the same name. Michael Carter. They got a couple Michael Carters on their team. So that's going to be confusing. But I think he's one of the steals of the draft. Pretty sure they got him in a 4th round. Watch out. Great player. He's going to be a great player. But don't judge a season on wins and losses, Giants or Jets fans. Watson's on his way out of the league. Granger's looking at his behavior. Yeah, he was in camp, which I don't even know why he was there, to be honest with you. He could be. I don't know what to make of the thing. Don't know where Carlos is today. Carlos, sometimes I think has to work on a Sunday morning or have other obligations. We do miss Carlos in these shows, obviously. Guys, thank you. By the way, I'll say it again. I say it sometimes. I don't maybe say it in the middle of the show when you're all here. I'll say it in the beginning. I'll say it at the end. And thank you for your participation. I love doing this show because of the byplay with you guys. Makes it a lot more fun for me. Tried to make it, a phone-in thing, and it didn't really work out so good. We can still do it at some point. The number's still up. Anybody who has my cell number can always call it, and it'll ring into the show because I hooked the Bluetooth up that way. But I want to thank you for your participation and being here so many weeks. Let's keep moving here. Where was I? There's only a couple games left, I think. Chiefs and 49ers. I don't think there's much to talk about here. Trey Lance, kind of uneven performance, 5 for 14, but he did throw for 128 yards and a touchdown, so he had a big play mixed in there. Kyle Shanahan has said that he will see the field this year. How much he's going to see the field still remains to be seen. Jimmy G is still there, and they're paying him a boatload of money. The 49ers, that's going to be a very competitive division, as I said earlier. And I think any one of those 4 teams can win it. I like the Seahawks, and I like the Cardinals at the top. That's who I like. I don't like the Rams as much as some people do because I'm not sold that Stafford's going to get them over the top, and I'm not sold on their running game now that Akers is out. Raiders and the Seahawks, 20-7 win for the Raiders. Again, nothing to get excited about on either side of the football there. And then the Rams that we mentioned were beaten by the Chargers 13-6. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't sleep on the Chargers this year. I love Herbert, great quarterback, great young quarterback. I think the steal of the draft, and probably the best thing that happened to the Chargers last year was Tyrod Taylor getting that shot to his rib cage that punctured his lung, or whatever the situation was. I believe that was the situation. Probably a godsend in the long run, not for Tyrod Taylor, but for the Chargers and Justin Herbert, because he played great football. He was the best rookie quarterback in football in my mind last year. And there's one more game to go today. The Colts and the Panthers are playing today at 1 o'clock, I believe. Not sure if that game's on national TV. I don't see the TV information here in front of me. Sam Ehlinger will be the starting quarterback for the Colts today, and he's got himself a really good situation. I like Sam Ehlinger. Liked him at Texas. Liked his potential to take his game to the next level. Again, might be a bit of a project, or more of a project than Trevor Lawrence or some other guys. But I like Sam Ehlinger. And this injury to Carson Wentz, I don't know how serious it is. He had some surgery on his foot this week. He's still kind of listed as day-to-day. But here's an opportunity for Sam Ehlinger. That's all I really got. By the way, let me make a quick comment here. And I want to get to the the National League in baseball, so we can cover it before Mark Mancini comes on. At 10:25 from Mancini Sports. We're talking about the Carson. Oh, Jesus, sorry about that, guys. Talking about the Carson Wentz injury, and look, he just had surgery on his foot. Is he really day to day? Doesn't matter here in the previews. Thank you, Linda, or Mac. I never know which one of you it is, but thank both of you. Got to be careful. The way the NFL has always reported injuries has always been, the least transparent thing in the history of non-transparent things. My own coach from my team is probably the worst of everybody. Tom Brady was listed as questionable for nearly every game of his career except for the season that he missed and didn't play at all. But with the gambling and the NFL basically being in bed with the gambling sites, I got to believe that they're going to crack down on these teams because it is the way they report injuries is still a joke and can affect this type of Richard Doherty. Thanks for watching, Richard. Good to see you. Get some new people in the last few weeks. Great to see new listeners and new viewers. Guys, like and share the show. If you like it, the best thing you can do to help us out is share it so your friends see it. Invite them to join TGI Sports Talk. Follow the show yourself. So thanks to anybody that's coming in new, as well as you, my solid core that I see every Sunday morning. So anyway, I think the NFL's got to be very, very careful about this whole injury reporting situation. I'll just throw that in as a caveat here since we were talking about injuries. 10:05, we're going to move on to Major League Baseball. I'm going to talk about the National League right now, since we're going to really dive a little bit deeper into the American League as we did last week with Mark Mancini at 10:25-ish. Mark, I believe, will be calling in again today, and then he promises me he'll be on video next week. So we'll get into the American League in depth with him at 10:25-ish, and we'll look at some of the potential award winners and such, as we did with the National League last week. In the National League, the Mets continue to just not play well. 2 losses in a row again. Bad loss again yesterday. They've gotten beat up by the Dodgers. They're now a game and a half behind the Phillies. And the Braves have moved into a tie for first. I've been saying it. I said it. I think when I was on with Dan Harris on the Let's Talk New York Sports show Friday afternoon, that I was a big proponent of the Braves in the beginning of the season. When Drew and I were doing our Billy, did you just wake up? Glad to see the Jets start against the Panthers. Oh, you mean then to start the season? Sorry, I thought you were commenting on it. Oh, thank you, Billy. Was your daughter in town? Did I see, by the way, from London? Glad you got to see her, if so. Back to the National League East. Listen, guys, Atlanta Braves. Again, when Drew and I were doing our prognostication show, I picked the Braves to go to the World Series. I thought they were the best team to challenge the Dodgers and the Padres, and those two teams are another story. I probably should have started with the National League West because there's big news there, but we'll get to it in a second. The Braves are now 5 games over 500. Their best, I believe, high water mark of the year. 1, 2 in a row, 8-2 the last 10 games. They're in a virtual tie with the Phillies, and I like their chances going down the stretch here better than the Phillies. I know we talked about it last week. Mark Mancini loves the Phillies, loves Joe Girardi. I don't love Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi's got a World Series ring with the Yankees, 1, with really good teams. And I don't like the way he manages a pitching staff. And I don't like the way another guy who plays to the script. You know, you get a guy in there, he throws 5 pitches and gets 3 straight outs on 5 pitches, and all of a sudden the guy's out. Say it's in the 7th inning, he's out in the 8th inning because that's not his role. So frustrating. So I like the Braves' chances here to overcome the Phillies. Listen, only 1 playoff spot coming out of this division. Although that's starting to look as a solid pick. Billy's daughter was in town from London. Good for you. Mets can't do it without DeGrom. Good point, by the way, Drew. DeGrom shut down for 2 more weeks. I said back, when he first started to have these arm problems before the All-Star game, so it was probably late June. I don't know how long he's been shut down. But he had a shoulder problem, then he had a forearm problem, which I think is what's keeping him out now. I said shut them down then, but no, they put them out there for 2 or 3 or 4 more starts. Didn't have problems in all of them, but they done better off then shutting them down and getting them back for the stretch run. Now he's down 2 more weeks. It's going to be almost September 1st before he's back. Well, he's shut down for 2 more weeks. He can't just come back and start pitching. He's going to have to probably have a start or 2 in the minors as a rehab. Mets mismanaged this badly. Mets not playing good baseball all the way around right now. It's funny how the Yankees' fortunes, although not still great, have changed so much in a week compared to the Mets. Billy brought up a couple times that their records were the same, and I said it wasn't really relevant. The Mets were in first place. The Yankees were in 3rd or 4th place at the time. But we'll talk more about the Yankees here in a second. That division, though, it's probably only going to get 1 wild card, as I said, but that's not as much as solid a statement as it was all the rest of the year. It's been a given the West we're going to get both wild cards. I'm not so sure anymore. The Padres are not playing great baseball. They got no hit last night, which we'll talk about here in a second. And the Braves, by the way, going back to the Braves. Braves are the only team in the division, and they've got a solid run differential at that. They're the only team in the division with a plus run differential. It's plus 71 runs. Nobody else in the division's over. They're all in the red, including the division-leading Phillies, or tied for the division-leading Phillies. I'm going to skip the Central Division just for a moment because I don't want to run out of time here to talk about this. Last night, we'll talk about the division leaders in a second. Last night, Tyler Gilbert, who has pitched in a total of 4 Major League games in his entire career, gets his first Major League Baseball start last night, and no hit. The San Diego Padres and that potent lineup. I'll come back to your comment there in a second, Drew. Tremendous. Congratulations to Tyler Gilbert. I mean, this type of thing doesn't happen in a first start ever. And it's a record 8 no-hitter. The record is extended. I said, I don't know if we'll get there. I said there'd be 12. There is 9, by the way, not 8. Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. I'll go down this road again. Madison Bumgarner threw a no-hitter this year. You told him he couldn't pitch 2 more innings. Stupid rule. So anyway, Tyler Gilbert, great game out of you. Great start you're 27 years old, so you've been around a while, Tyler. But congratulations, it's your first Major League start. You throw a no-hitter. Not sure it's ever happened before. My researcher, Drew, can look that up for me while I'm talking about the rest of this division. The Padres are not playing well, guys. Lost 4 in a row, 4 and 6 in the last 10. They've fallen 10 games out of first place. The Giants continue to have the best record in baseball by far. By far. And the Padres just keep dropping further back. They're without Fernando Tatis Jr. They may be without him the rest of the year. It's possible. And, you know, he's a big part of their offense. And look at, Drew talks about their hitting's okay even without Tatis. The vaunting pitching has been awful, for sure. Blake Snell has been terrible. I don't think their offense is anywhere near as good without Tatis, by the way. But they do score runs. I mean, they've got a really solid run differential as well. But you're getting hit it by a kid 27 years old who's never started a game. And But their pitching's been horrendous. Injuries, bad performance. Padres are in trouble. Padres will probably still make the playoffs. But are they going to do anything once they get there? If they hold on, the Reds, who we'll talk about in a second, have pulled within 3 games of that last wild card. Dodgers have all but locked up the first wild card, assuming they don't win the division. The Giants have been just tremendous. Tremendous. Best story in baseball. Them and the Red Sox. The Red Sox have fallen on very hard times, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. Chris Sale is back, which we'll talk about as well. But sticking here, the Giants are a great story. Nobody picked them. People picked them to be 4th at best in this division. Gabe Kapler, universally ripped, including by me for his stint in Philadelphia and some of the unorthodox ways he goes about the game. But 75-42, 33 games over 500. That is some pretty good baseball. 4-game lead over the Dodgers. The Dodgers had to put Urias on the disabled list, or the the injured list yesterday. The top winner in the National League. More pitching problems for the Dodgers. Are the Dodgers deep enough? They made some great moves to get Scherzer, to get Trey Turner. By the way, watch the slide. Go to YouTube, guys, and Google Trey Turner's slide. It's one of the coolest things I've seen. It's really just not much to see, except how smooth and effortless it is. And anyway, it was a lot of fun to watch. But the Dodgers, man, they just keep getting hurt. Dave Roberts done a great job there, I think. They've won 71 games, guys. They got the second best record in baseball. Well, they're tied with the Braves, or the Brewers, rather. And where else are they? Where's the White Sox? 68. Dodgers got the second best record in baseball. All right, here's my fact on the no-hitter. Thank you, Drew. Bobo Holloman, St. Louis Browns. Now the Baltimore Orioles, FYI. Pitched a no-hitter in his first start, 5-6-53. Only 2 other instances were in the 1890s, which we won't count. That was pretty much a dead ball era. I'm surprised there weren't more no-hitters. Guys, I'm still going to say we're going to get to 12. Just what I think. I said Urias lands on a DL. Can't read that note. Let's talk about some more American League stuff here for about 7 minutes. What can we cover here? Let me talk a little bit about the National League stuff. Let's go back to the Mets again. The Mets are Steve Cohen, I thought, was going to go more in at the All-Star break, and they didn't. And it's proving to really be a mistake. Their pitching is not deep enough. I got to make a comment here. 8 no-hitters, ties a record. As I said, Drew, they have the record. There is 9. Baumgartner, I'll count my own records if I have to. I'll start my own record book. Because Rob Manfred doesn't care about the record book. Rob Manfred doesn't care about anything to do with the history of baseball. Although they did a great job with the Field of Dreams. I'm going to talk about that with Mark Mancini. We can talk about that a little bit now if you want, but I'm going to definitely dive into it with Mark. Because I thought it was I ripped Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball a lot. I do want to go on the record right now before I rip him for this. They did a great job with the Field of Dreams game. It was just so well done. it gave me a feel for some old time baseball, and I can't really say anything bad about it. Cornfield ate a lot of baseballs. If I have anything negative to say, it was a 9-8 game, and whatever, you're going to get some of those. And that's my problem with Rob Manfred. That's what he wants. 9-8 games. Don't let the pitchers have a chance to get hitters out. Make the ballpark smaller, whatever. They finally did something right. So again, if I'm going to make a prediction here on the rest of the National League, which we kind of talked about last week. Oh, I didn't get to the Central. I'm sorry. Let me get to the Central quick. My bad. I skipped right over them. We got 5 minutes. The Brewers, who I also liked a lot going into the season, aren't scoring a ton of runs. So they're doing this with pitching and defense and timely hitting, which, guess what, guys, has been a recipe for winning baseball games since the start of time. Rob Manfred. I think the best manager in baseball. I said last week that Craig Counsell ought to get consideration for the National League Manager of the Year, along with Kapler. Maybe even Roberts for navigating the waters he's had to navigate. But the Brewers continue to lead that division by 8 games. The surprising Reds, 8 games over 500, and as I said, have pulled within 3 games of that last wild card spot behind the Padres. I thought they were a year away, but they continue to play really good baseball. Cards doing their usual up and down thing. They are up for now. Good point. I'm trying to find my right mouse here, Drew. Yeah, they're up for now. What have they been? 7-3 in their last 10. 2 inconsistent. Not enough pitching. Not sold on their manager. The Cardinals, who have been very competitive over the last few decades, really, except for a handful of years, are just not consistent. The Brewers early in the year weren't consistent, but the Brewers caught fire here around mid-season or just before it. And they've been just playing the best baseball in the division. The Reds, again, they've done a really, really good job there. Bell, the manager, again, has done a great job. Wait a minute. Bell's not the manager there. Who the hell's the manager there? The heck am I doing here? Hang on one second. Who the heck is the manager of the Reds? I'm losing my mind here, people. Drew will probably have it for me before I get it. The Prevagen thing, guys, I don't know. I might have to drop them as a sponsor. David Bell. I was right. I don't know why I doubt myself. Just about to drop Prevagen as a sponsor. Cubs and Nationals reaping the benefits of their teardowns. You put that up before, didn't you, Drew, or not? Because I know I had something I was going to go back to from you. Washington Celtics are showing in a record 6 and 10 games losing streak, respectively. What can you expect? I mean, I don't know what these two teams thought they were really doing. The Cubs especially. I don't know whether they plan on throwing money at their problem in the offseason. I don't think their farm system is that strong. It was strong, but all those guys have come up through it, made it to the majors, and then they've traded other guys away as they attempted to win the last couple of years. And the prospects that they got for Rizzo, I can tell you, are not that good. Again, who knows? I mean, it's a crapshoot with young guys, but I think, again, I said this last week, you're going to see what their plan is by what they do with Rizzo. If they go back and try to re-sign Rizzo as a free agent, well, I think they're going to throw money at it and try to get a quick fix. If they don't re-sign Rizzo or even attempt to, well, they're just going to tear it all apart. It's already torn apart, but they're going to start from scratch. And the Nationals, they'll probably spend money. they'll probably spend money. Just my guess. Where was I? Got off my standings page here. Hold on. So we're talking about the what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the National League Central. Brewers are going to be tough out in the playoffs, guys. Pitching wins. Good pitching, good defense, timely hitting. Just what the doctor ordered in the Brewers. They could surprise. Well, the Giants are the same kind of club, to be honest with you. Giants with a great move to get Chris Bryant at the trade deadline. Giants with some veterans who have really had bounce back years and helped carry them. They got to do that here throughout the rest of August and September. Posey, Longoria, Belt. You could make a case for Buster Posey be the MVP if he played more games, I think. And by the way, playing a limited number of games doesn't necessarily exclude you from being an MVP candidate. You go back to 1979 and Willie Stargell, I mean, might have only had 400 at bats ish. Drove in 80 some runs. But every home run he hit, every run he drove in seemed to be a huge run. Both the Brewers and Giants have great success with pitching reclamation projects. Very true. Very true, Drew. One thing I will say about the Brewers, and it might hurt their chances, is the fact that, and again, we still got the waiver wire deadline. Gotta make sure I haven't missed a call here. Make sure Mark's not having a problem. Let me just check real quick. Nothing from Mark. Okay, I think we're all right. One thing I wanted to mention was, and again, we're not done yet. The Brewers could still make a move. I was surprised they didn't do more to bolster their offense. There were guys available that they were linked with, like Kyle Seager from the Mariners, Aguiar from the Marlins, who's having a really big year. And they didn't make those moves. So let me move on. And we'll start talking about the American League here a little bit as Mark's running a little bit late. Hopefully he'll be on in just a few minutes. We'll start talking about that. When he's due back is still up in the air, Drew. Rick. He has been pitching. I know he threw 46 pitches in a simulated game the other day. So it's possible to get him back. One of the big things the Yankees were counting on was Kluber coming back for the stretch run, Severino coming back. Severino had a setback the other day in one of his rehab starts. They thought they were going to have him back here in the next week or two. Kluber, I do not think there's a solid timetable yet, but we could hear something more this week. And I think it's important for the Yankees. And we'll talk about that for a second as we wait for Mark Mancini from Mancini Sports. There he is now. I never know how to answer this thing. Hang on. Hello, Mark.
How are you, brother?
Hello, Mark Mancini from Mancini Sports. How are you?
I am good, man. The most must-see radio show that's sweeping Sunday mornings across this country.
Well, you got on just in time because I was going to move on to the American League and start chatting about it so we had time. You and I covered the National League. And before I go on, by the way, guys, Mark's got shows. Mark, what did we talk about? XM's channel 203, Sirius Radio 217.
Part of KMET 1490 AM Saturday mornings.
Yep, in California, correct.
DB AM 860 out of Philadelphia, starting the end of September. That's the 30th. And then we're working on Tampa right now. And quite a few other things. Doing a Pittsburgh Pirate podcast with the first base coach, Tarek Brock. So I'll get to see the Pirates this week, starting tomorrow and Tuesday in Los Angeles, and a host of other great shows that, you're a part of, and love your great network. And I'm grateful for the opportunity here on Sundays to be a part of you guys.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're happy to do some cross promotions, and there'll be more to talk about that down the line. Who knows?
Yes.
And I got to say, if James Brown was the hardest working man in show business, and Mark Mancini is the hardest working man in sports broadcasting, I can tell you right now.
I appreciate the compliment. Just a piece of a puzzle with some great guys. You surround yourself with some excellent talent, with experience and knowledge, and you hit that goal that much faster.
Well, that's what you got to do, right? I mean, just keep pounding away.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. More ways than one.
I got to change my banner here quick because it says the wrong thing. Hang on. Bear with me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we had a great conversation earlier today. I'll tell you, Mark, I was supposed to have Jim Jeffcoat and Byron Williams. Jim Jeffcoat, the two-time Dallas Cowboy Super Bowl champion. And Byron Williams, he was a wide receiver with the Giants in the 80s and played in the Canadian Football League. They're starting a new show on Northeast Streaming Sports, J&B Talking Shop. It'll be on exclusively on the Northeast Streaming Sports YouTube channel. So we had
God bless you, man. Jeffcoat, yeah.
He's a good guy.
Unbelievable.
He didn't make it this morning, unfortunately. I think we had he might have had a communication problem, but Byron was with us, and we had a good talk about that and some things to expect in football. You and I are going to jump into football starting next week, Mark.
Yes.
But today, I want to make sure that I didn't even see. I went in to change that banner. I'm talking to you, and I didn't even do it, for crying out loud. Jeez, good grief.
It's okay. Today happens sometimes.
Today is my 61st birthday. Actually, I've been 39.
Wow! Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Unbelievable. It's funny because mine is November 14th, 3 months from yesterday. I'll be 60, and boy, I'll tell you, that's going to be a good one because a lot of things fall on that day. The Lions will be in Pittsburgh. I've been invited to there. Tampa's playing my Redskins in Washington, and out here, Minnesota will be playing the Chargers. So I've kind of circled the wagon for the decade birthday.
Wow, that's going to be a big day for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have lots to talk about when it comes to football here in the coming weeks because we're going to shift gears a little next week, you and I, and talk some NFL. But today, last week, we really dove in depth into the National League division races as we come down the wire and some of the postseason award contenders. And I want to do the same thing with the American League today. And also with the American League, I want to touch real quickly before we start. I touched on it a little bit already. I thought, and I bashed Rob Manfred terribly much of this year. And I also didn't put your picture up, Mark. So while I talk, let's talk. I thought that what they did with the Field of Dreams game the other day was just absolutely tremendous. I can't say anything bad. Did I lose you, Mark? We might have lost Mark. Hopefully he calls me back here in just a second. See if we can get his picture up here while this might be a little scary. That's not so bad. How about lost him? There he's back. Hey, Mark, what happened?
I guess I got disconnected.
Really? That's weird. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. That's probably something I did wrong. 61 years old, technology does not our friend. It's not our friend. Well, while you're gone, I had a chance to get your picture up on the screen. So at least we got that. So anyway, what I started to talk about real quick before we dive into division races, I've bashed Rob Manfred a lot on this show and other shows, and I just think he's doing a horrendous job and hurting baseball in a gazillion ways. But I've got to give Major League Baseball And I guess in turn, Rob Manfred credit for what they did Thursday night with the Field of Dreams game, which I thought was a 100% a home run for baseball. It was just the visuals were awesome. The opening, some people complained it was too scripted. It was perfect. It followed the movie.
Right.
Kevin Costner's participation and turning and seeing the players come out of the cornfield. It was just awesome. It gave me an awesome feeling about baseball that I don't always have anymore. What are your thoughts real quick on Thursday night's game?
Well, I totally agree with you. Ron Manfred, I'm not a big fan of his. I was never a big fan of Bud Selig. Definitely going to, bring back the Peter Uberoths and the Bowie Coons of the world, because I like the way they ran the sport, especially Uberoth.
Oh, Uberoth.
But the last two, unbelievable job coming in from the Olympics and everything. And then, I know the Bart Giamatti thing with the Pete Rose thing. A lot of people were upset with that. But Selig was one of the worst. And then here comes Manfred. And, the one thing that I've liked with baseball over the years is the transition of the interleague. But everything else with the, 7-inning doubleheaders and putting the guy at second base, Bill Madlock told me, he said that's like playing softball. The 7-inning, they don't respect the no-hitter, but yet you put a ghost runner on at second base in extra innings. And, Tommy Glavine said you can lose a game that way without even giving up a hit. So
you sure can.
It's totally crazy the way everything is, but you're right. The Field of Dreams was awesome, unbelievable the way it was laid out, and it's the bar. I thought the Little League thing playing in Williamsport a couple of years ago was unbelievable when the Cardinals and Pirates played it, but this thing is totally off the charts.
Yeah, they did a great job, and we won't spend a lot of time on it, but I just think it's something they got to do every year. And obviously the White Sox, here's where they'll screw up. I mean, they'll say, we got to get all the teams involved. Well, the White Sox have to be there every time. You can't do that game without the White Sox. It makes no sense, right?
Well, that would be like football. When you think of London now, you think of the Jacksonville Jaguars playing a home game there every year. And if you don't keep them in the equation on it, like the White Sox are on this thing, it just takes its luster away. The 1919 look, the halves, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, coming through the cornfields, Kevin Costner running it. And I'm definitely a big fan of Kevin Costner, even with that, and along with the thing he's doing with Yellowstone. It's just simply amazing.
Love that show.
Yeah. Can't wait to get it back on. When's it coming back?
I believe in September, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited myself. And yes,
cliffhanger, baby.
I know, right? And Field of Dreams is, to me, the best baseball movie, maybe the best sports movie ever made, I think. And the James Earl Jones.
You know what? My big one was, and I posted it up there, was 8 Men Out. I liked 8 Men Out. That was a real.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
That was another, a good one. You could put Bull Durham in that, Major League, and seeing the what's going on with the Cleveland Indians these days, the name change. That movie could be definitely an icon.
I saw somebody. I don't know if I made this comment last week to you or not, but I saw a comment that somebody said they should change the name of the field. I think it's Progressive Field now, right? They want to change it. Yeah, they want to change it to Galaxy Field so that they can be the Guardians of the Galaxy. Which I thought was an awesome idea.
God, somebody has a lot of stake in Star Wars and all these other things to come up with that name. I'll tell you. I mean,
okay. Well, it's a bridge.
I get it.
I think
exactly.
I think every league should have a team named for a bridge. I mean, good grief. Let's get into the baseball. Let's start with the American League East. Things have really changed over the last few weeks. Tampa Bay has pulled away to a 4-game lead now over the Red Sox, who have really struggled, but got a big boost in the arm yesterday with Chris Sale coming back with 8 strikeouts.
He looked good.
Yeah, he did. I think it's a huge plus for the Red Sox. Can they get? I think the Rays are going to win this division, and I think it's going to come down to the Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays fighting for one of the wild card spots, if not both of them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When you look at the Rays, I don't know. It's a smoke and mirror team, to say the least. They were in the World Series last year. came up short. And Cash has got them playing some ball. They got a lot of good role players. I like the Red Sox. I like Cora. He's a player's manager. They slipped now a little. Their motto and their slogan is the slugging percentages and everything. Yeah. They've come down. The pitching's been beat up of late. Barnes has been coming in games, and his ERA has been going up a little. So they haven't been getting the thing. They can't beat Tampa for some reason. If you can't beat the team in front of you, that presents a problem. But I like the Red Sox chances getting to the playoffs. I mean, when you look at those bats they brought in from here in Los Angeles, Verdugo and Hernandez, good role players. Go get with Devers, Bogarts, J.D. Martinez is drinking from the fountain of youth. I like the Red Sox to catch Tampa. I know, Tampa's beat them, like I said, head to head. But when we get in the home stretch here, I think the Red Sox will figure out a way to get them. One of those games, the Red Sox put up 20 runs in Tampa. So wherever it was working in that game, you better use it down the stretch to beat Tampa.
Agreed. The Blue Jays, too, we can't count out. They played better baseball. They've lost 3 in a row recently, and George Springer's hurt again. He was playing great baseball since he came back. And the Blue Jays were on a bit of a run, but then have stalled. I'm not sure that they got enough pitching. And I'm not sure if they don't have Springer healthy, whether they've got even enough offense. Now, Vlad Guerrero is a bona fide MVP candidate, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I don't think they've got enough to actually even win one of the wild cards myself.
Well, I had Toronto across the networks basically saying they were coming out of the American League. I'm not going to waver away from it. I think when you put something out there, you got to stay consistent for people to believe in you, whether you're right or wrong on it, rather than be wishy-washy and change teams like you change clothes. So I'm going to stick with the Blue Jays. I like the generation players they have there. When you look at the Bichettes, the Biggios, the Guerrero Juniors, Springer's been hurt, and that's a big thing. He's been, off and on this year. They signed him to a big contract. I like their pitching, man. Berrios, I like Matz. They came out here last week, played the Angels, and, they went in a seesaw thing with them. They've lost 3 in a row, but I think the Blue Jays will find themselves the team that I'm not putting a lot of stock in this division. I know they've made a run of late, and they've been a great, since the All-Star. No, it's been the Yankees.
Yeah.
And I think the Yankees are almost like the Mets in a mirror image of each other, because when you rely on, a mama bear to take care of the Cubs, and what I mean is the Mets looked at DeGrom, the Yankees have looked at Cole. That presents a lot of problems. I like Chapman in the back end of the bullpen there. But, with their resurrection of bats now, with, Gallo and Rizzo from the left side, I'm not a big Stanton guy. And, I think he's stealing money there in New York.
Yeah,
they should have unloaded him, try to get some pitching. Nobody wants that albatross contract. So I think the Yankees will slip out of this playoff picture. I think when it's all said and done, you might have the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Rays coming out of the American League East.
It's funny. One of my viewers here, Drew, mentions the Jays and the Sox have the same issue, which is pitching. But I would say the Yankees all 3 of those teams fall in the same bucket. They don't have enough pitching right now. Now, the Yankees, if Cole comes back, and he's Cole after his COVID situation, if Kluber should be able to get back, if Severino should be able to come back, but they both had setbacks here recently. I don't think you can count on them. I'm not sure that the Yankees have enough. Joey Gallo finally had a big night last night, which he needed badly. But the issues with the Yankees are still the same. The defense at shortstop is not good. The defense behind the plate when Sanchez plays is not good. And now you got Chapman out. And Britton was the closer. And big story in New York this morning in the paper was Britton claims that Boone was told to take him out of the closer role while Chapman's out by the front office. So more rumors that Boone doesn't have any control there. It's all Brian Cashman.
Right. Boone is a good manager. I know a lot of Yankee fans are kind of, fed up with him when you talk across the board, but I like, Boone. He's done wonders there since, he's got these guys, playing ball. Unfortunately, the injury bug has taken a big toll. The pitching's got to go on south a little. Chapman got rocked hard there. early on. The Stanton contract is huge.
Yeah.
Losing Gregorius over to the Phillies, that was a huge thing. I liked Gregorius a lot. So when you lose some of these pieces of the puzzle, and now you're looking up at a division where the Blue Jays came in with, high expectations and in frontline pitching, guys that ate up innings. The Red Sox had the bats, and the Tampa was the defending American League champions. It presents its problem. It's not like you're in the American League West or the American League Central where you can beat up on the Sisters of Mercy every week.
Yeah, I will also add one last comment. Drew also says that we need to give Talion credit for his pitching lately. He has pitched very, very well the last month and a half. So he's been a good godsend for the Yankees. And one other, Billy Pulver, another one of my consistent regular participants here on Sunday, says the Yankees will sweep the Sox and the Rays and win the division. I don't see any universe that is going to happen myself. I think
we respect the listeners, but I don't know what he's drinking or eating on this early in the morning on Sunday.
It's funny. I have that question for Bill a lot on Sunday mornings, whether he's already started or been continuing from the night before. So I don't know.
You gotta have faith in these guys that stand by their team when they're struggling. You can tell a lot about people. Yeah. God knows there's a lot of bandwagon fans, and here I'm watching my Pittsburgh Pirates get shut out by the Brewers yesterday, but in the opener they whacked them 14-4. So you got to stay with your team through thick and thin. So I respect Bill.
Oh gosh, another guy says Bill might be smoking. We won't get into that conversation today. We'll let that one pass. So listen, as far as I'm concerned, before we move on, Yankees have improved. They're not going to win this division. They're going to be at best in a dogfight for a wild card spot with the Mariners and the A's and maybe the Red Sox. But let's move on to the Central. The White Sox continue to have one of the better records in baseball. They're only 5-5 over their last 10, but they've got an 11-game lead. They're not going to lose this division. Tony La Russa was really brought in here to be able to win in the postseason. The Tigers have been a surprise. They've now moved to just 3 games under. They're not a threat to make the playoffs this year, but they've certainly laid some groundwork going forward. I think A.J. Hinch has done a great job, but the division-leading White Sox, it's going to come down to, they got to, for their season to be successful, they need to win in the postseason, I think.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I call them the young guns, and I'm not talking about Emilio Estevez and, Lou Diamond Phillips and all those guys. These guys
They're not
are
young
good.
guns anymore, by the way.
Yeah, they got a 2-headed monster in the back end of that bullpen. So if one guy struggles, the other guy can pick up the pieces in Kimbrel, and then you got Hendricks. They got frontline pitching. They got bats. They got a manager that's, if he's not managing a ball club, he's got a law degree there. So I like the White Sox to do some damage for years to come in this division. You're right about Detroit. A.J. Hinch has laid the groundwork. Tigers might not go anywhere this year. If they could stay around that 500 mark, get the consistency of that Motor City going in next year, they'll be the number 2 team. The Indians have gone backwards. Terry Francona is a great guy. I talked to him a few times, but unfortunately, the team is getting long in the tooth. The big thing in Cleveland was a name change, and now, when you look at this team moving forward, they're going to be looking at the bottom more so than going up. Kansas City, I thought they'd do something earlier in the year. They looked like they were going to do something, but, who knows what the Royals are going to do? I think their best years are behind them. I like Mike Matheny a lot. And then, when you look at the way the division is moving forward, it just doesn't look like anybody's going to give the White Sox a run there in this division. So I think that's where it is. And what happened to Minnesota, man?
Biggest disappointment in Minnesota, I think.
Yeah,
biggest disappointment in baseball.
Well, and not only that, if they got back to the postseason again, maybe it would have been 18 straight games, not doing nothing in the postseason. So it's unfortunate what's happened there in Minnesota.
It is. Drew comments that the Sox, again, we know the Sox are going to win this division, but getting Roberts back and Jimenez back has been huge for them. And look at Tony La Russa was brought in here to win playoff games, and they knew they were going to be in the playoffs. And I think again, the mark of a successful season for them is going to be winning and getting to the World Series, I think.
Well, not only that, La Russa, he's an innovator, he's a communicator, he gets what these guys get out of it. I mean, when he first got hired, he talked to the Andersons, he talked to the Jimenez, he talked to these guys, tried to, he knew what was going to happen here, get the input, get the trust behind your players. And look what the White Sox have done. They've come out of the gate and they're not looking back, and who knows, man, how far they can go.
Great job. Let's move on to the West, where the Astros are the Astros again. And you know what? It's funny because, and I'll start this by saying, I think the whole sign stealing thing, well, I don't condone it. Sign stealing's been going on in baseball since they started playing baseball. Teams have tried to get edges on everybody else, and other teams are doing things to try to steal signs. It's not just the Astros. And I don't think it's as big a deal as people made it out to be. You could feel differently. I don't know. But I will tell you this. They're hitting the ball better this year than they did when they supposedly knew what was coming. So I'll just start with that.
Well, first of all, I catch the flack out here in Los Angeles when I tell the Dodger fans, you've won 3 division titles or, 8 division titles. You've won 3 World Series, but you haven't won 1 World Series playing 162 games since 1988.
Yeah.
So to stand here and complain about the Houston Astros and the trash banging concept and all that, let's face it, Dusty Baker came in. Dusty Baker was a calming effect over the Astros. I liked A.J. Hinch. When you look at the Astros go on a road trip now, it's almost like watching the WWE and a bunch of heels coming out. Where's the faces? But, Houston's played consistent baseball, and you know what? Nobody's catching the Astros in that division. I had the Angels to win this division. And let's look at Oakland on the situation here. Yeah. Bob Melvin's a heartbreak coach. He's a manager. This guy, wins, in the regular season. He seems to drop the ball in the playoffs. He beat the Astros last year, 8 out of 10 or whatever in the regular season, shortened season. And then he got bounced by the Astros in the playoffs game. So I'm not putting much stock in the Oakland A's. This is a far cry from the 70s when you had the Catfish Hunters, the Reggie Jacksons, the Burt Campaneris. These guys knew how to win baseball in Oakland. This combo is just good enough to get through the regular season, get in the playoffs, and get bounced. Look at the history of the last couple seasons. Tampa came out to Oakland, beat them in the one-game playoff. The A's lost to the Astros last year. I'm not buying stock in the Oakland A's. I don't even know if they're going to get in there, the playoffs, which I think 3 teams will come out of the American League East. So Oakland, if they can't catch Houston, which I don't think they will, they're going to be looking down at the bottom of the division like the rest of these teams in this division.
Yeah, well, one thing I will say about Melvin is I believe he's the longest-serving manager in the American League now, if not all of baseball, at least in the American League. And I will give him credit because, Moneyball is built, the whole design, it's not built. It's not a model built to be able to win in the playoffs. Right. It's just not. And I think he's done a great job of getting these teams in contention year after year. So I think he's done a good job with what he's had to work with. And I really got to give him a bit of a pass where I may not some other guys for not winning in the postseason because he doesn't have the horses.
Well, the flip side of this, and I don't want to, knock Marv Levy of the Buffalo Bills taking all those teams to the Super Bowl and not winning it.
Yep.
But sometimes you there's a psychological effect, I think, that you believe you're a bridesmaid.
Yeah.
And, I see what's going on in some of these other cities, and Pittsburgh's gearing up for, 3 years down the line where there's a groundwork there. Look what the Astros have done. They were bad, and then they got good, and they still continue that concept because I think the foundation's laid. And the motto is let's win the prize here. And we saw the Astros win it. I think when I look at Oakland, there's been a consistency of, second place finishes or first place finishes and nothing in the playoffs. And, you got to get the job done. Otherwise, you're looked at, I think, as a regular season winner.
Yeah.
And that's why till the A's do something, and you're right with Melvin, he's been there, but sooner or later, they're going to want that championship, Otherwise, they're going to say, we got to bring somebody else to take over the groundwork here.
Well, they ought to spend some money, and they might get to that point.
Yeah.
So, that's the other side. There's something to your bridesmaid comment, though, because I've always said, not to get away from baseball for too much, but your Marv Levy analogy, first of all, it takes a really good team and coach to get to 4 straight Super Bowls. Second of all, I think if Scott Norwood makes that field goal in the first one, they might have won three of those games. It's possible because you do get that, that negative mindset. So good analogy there.
Well, and not only that, real fast, I think when you get there, and if you've been there 2 times and you're coming back 2 more times, I'd be sitting the team down, trying to get something, figure something out. Let's get a great game plan and progress over regress. Especially if you've been there 4 straight years, you have to get that progress. You got to figure out what did I do right in the first year. Now I'm in the second year. What did I do right in the first 2 years? Here I'm in the third year.
Yeah, good points. All good points. Good stuff. I think we got some exciting races down the wires here in the in all these. Well, not the Central, but as far as the West, the East, and the wild card races, it's going to be a fun 6 weeks here. So buckle up. Let's talk a little bit. We only got a few minutes left, Mark, but let's talk a little bit about the the front runners for some of the postseason awards in the American League, as we did last week for the National League. For the MVP, you got some really good candidates, and Ohtani, who's not going to play for a winner, but you're not going to be able to exclude him. The guy I like myself at the moment is Vlad Guerrero, and it might depend again on the Blue Jays finish. But you've got some other guys in Korea and Bogarts and Devers, and even Marcus Semien from the Blue Jays would warrant some consideration depending on how they finish. What are your thoughts on the MVP?
I think the Ohtani one right now was the front runner, but Ohtani really hasn't done anything from the All-Star break on. I know he's 7-1 as a pitcher, but the home runs haven't really gone up since the All-Star break. So that's one thing I look at. I look at a guy that, maybe a lot of people really aren't looking at. And I think he's resurrected himself, kind of gone back to the drawing board and really helped this ball club a lot is J.D. Martinez. I like J.D. Martinez a lot. I think what he's done is unbelievable. The Red Sox look to him and everything. And you're right, Bogarts, Devers over there, and you're looking at Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which I had the Blue Jays get to the World Series in the American League. But my guy is, I'm going to go outside the box here. I like J.D. Martinez because I think he makes everybody around him that much better. Kind of reminds me of Magic Johnson when he was a rookie going against the 76ers, scored 42 points, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was sitting home, couldn't play the game. So I like J.D. Martinez.
Well, that's a good pick too on the outside. So let's move on to the Cy Young. Lance Lynn is probably the front runner at the moment, although his teammate Hendricks could be maybe his main competition. Garrett Cole's probably missed too much time, I think. Lance Lynn has pitched great wherever he pitches, except the short time he spent with the Yankees a few years ago. He was just atrocious. And he also, I kind of root for Lance Lynn. I watched him in the Field of Dream game we talked about, and I thought I was watching a beer league pitcher out there because he's not in the best of shape, but he is a great pitcher and he pounds the strike zone. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Yankees got the championships, and everybody talks about the Dodgers, but I'll tell you one thing. Growing up and since the 80s and stuff too, they've been just a wrecking ball as far as talents in the minors and everything.
Yeah.
You'll never have to put a bag over your head watching St. Louis Cardinals baseball. You look at the Lance Lynn's, you look at the Michael Walkers, you look at what Adam Wainwright did the other day in Pittsburgh, 39 years old, throwing a one-hitter. The first time that's happened in Pittsburgh since Bob Gibson did it in '71 at Three Rivers Stadium against them. But the Cardinals have churned out guys left and right, and it's a testament to their organization and what Lynn's doing. And yeah, you're right, Lynn's there. The guy I like is Garrett Cole. He's missed a lot of time. Maybe the substance of the thing has hurt him a little.
I
but
think it's got in his head a little. That's what I think.
Yeah. I love Garrett Cole, and he's my choice. Maybe to get back in this thing, but I'm gonna stick with him.
Okay, I think that's a good pick too. I like Cole a lot. Obviously, he's a key to the Yankees' chances. He's got to dominate pretty much every game out from here on out when he gets back in the rotation, which will be very shortly. Moving on to the Rookie of the Year, it's kind of a weird year for rookies for me. Most of the good rookies are on teams that are not that as competitive. There's a couple guys, I guess. Luis Garcia for the Astros, for instance. I think the front runner is Adolis Garcia from the Rangers. But there's Casey Mize after a tough start with the Tigers has played pretty well. Cole Irvin for the Athletics we talked about earlier. Badu for the Tigers is another guy I think would be in consideration. What do you got?
Well, that's been my guy from the get go. I like Badu from the Tigers. I like his personality. I like his drive. I like he bought an AJ Hinch over there, so that would be my front runner for it. The Tigers, we haven't really seen the Tigers do anything for quite a few years. And when you think of the Tigers, from when I was growing up, I got to see them in that nice run with Sparky Anderson when they jumped out of the gate 35-5.
Yeah.
That was an amazing run in '84, and took out the San Diego Padres. So, but I like what's happening in Detroit, and Badu's going to be my front runner for the Rookie of the Year.
Good point. Just to go back to the Cy Young real quick, Drew had put up a comment that I missed that not to discount Robbie Ray as a dark horse, and he's right. He's actually pitching really well for the Blue Jays.
Oh yeah, Ray's Tampa Bay, Toronto.
Yeah, he's. What did I say? Sorry. Blue Jays, right? Yeah. I always thought he had a lot of talent with the Diamondbacks. He just couldn't put it together, but he's put it together recently. So, moving on.
Well, they got a lot of guys that eat up innings in Toronto. Yeah. When you look at Strickland and Ray, and you throw Matz in that equation and everything, and when they're healthy, if they're healthy, every one of those guys, man, it'd be tough to beat Toronto.
Agreed. Moving on to Manager of the Year, I thought until recently that Alex Cora was a lock for this award. That, again, he was the most important addition any team in baseball made during the offseason. But of late, I think he's come back to the pack, and I think you got to give Dusty Baker consideration here. Kevin Cash, of course, with the Rays, although I don't agree with some of the things they do, playing out a script during a baseball game, for lack of a better term. And Tony La Russa is probably not going to get the consideration he should get just because the team was expected to win. What are your views here?
Well, I love Alex Cora a lot. He's a player's manager. You saw what the Red Sox had when they won the World Series to when that whole thing broke, and Renicky came into Boston and they finished last, and look what Cora's done this year. So he is unbelievable. I'll tell you one guy I throw out there that you bring up a lot of great guys, but the one guy I like to look way out would be AJ Hinch to keep the Tigers in the contention like this. And, we know they're not going to get in the playoffs. We talked about that earlier, but I like AJ Hinch a lot. I think what he's laid is the groundwork in Detroit for years to come, and keep your eye on the Tigers. So my second choice behind Cora would be AJ Hinch.
If he gets that team over 500, you got a point. I think it'd be hard to give it to him if he finishes under 500, even though they're way above expectations. It looked like they were going to be a dumpster fire like the Diamondbacks early in the year, and he just turned everything around. So great job there. One guy I forgot to mention is Scott Service from the Mariners, too. He's done a great job out there as well.
Keeping them in the thing for Mariners, they're I think one of the first teams that win 116 games to get bounced. But the Mariners, they remind me of a Bruce Springsteen song, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, man. You gotta do something, man. In Seattle, you've had a lot of talent over the years there, and I don't know, when you go to the general store, you might want to buy some pitching. I don't talk about fourth or fifth guys. Get some frontline pitchers to play in the Pacific Northwest, and you might have a winner.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Great stuff, Mark. Thanks for bringing it to this morning again. We're going to continue this as we've talked about here the last couple of weeks. Mark promises me we'll see him on video next week. We'll see
video next week, man. I'm all raring to go. The most talked about, the most must-see show that's sweeping the country, you and your network, and I'm so blessed to be a part of it, brother.
I'm happy to have you as always. Listen, you have a great Sunday afternoon or morning in your case, and afternoon, and we'll talk to you during the week.
God bless you, my friend. Thanks for everything, and thanks for the great listeners.
Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right. My thanks to Mark Mancini, Mancini Sports, again, XM 203, Sirius 217, KMET in California if you're out that way. He's going to be on soon on 860 in Philadelphia. He's got a lot of stuff in the works, man. This guy is the hardest working guy around. I'll tell you. Rick Sherlock says, enjoy your birthday, old timer. I'm catching you, buddy. I keep falling behind, you and Kenny. I'll tell Kenny call in next week. Maybe I will. That will be interesting. May dial with his bare feet for all I know, right? Let me just change my banner quick as we wrap this up. Guys, it's been an awesome morning, I think. I don't know if I can find it right one. I got so many banners going now. Oh, my God. Bear with me. All right, here we go. Good enough. So, big show today. We had Byron Williams, Jim Jeffcoat couldn't make it, but we got a new show starting on Northeast Streaming Sports exclusively on our YouTube channel. Make sure you go there and subscribe, and you'll get notifications on those shows. It's going to be a big deal. Listen, we've got guys like me who didn't play professional sports, myself and Mac and Jack and Jamie Peggs and the guys from Unscripted. And I don't mean to leave anybody out. I've left a bunch of shows out. Dan Harris from Let's Talk Sports over in the UK. You know, we didn't play professional sports. These guys played professional sports. They're gonna step it up a notch with some of the people that they'll have access to, and hopefully, you know, we can network off of that and bring people aboard as well. It's gonna be a great endeavor, great addition to the network. Welcome to Jim Jeffcoat and Byron Williams. Thanks for coming on this morning, Byron. Sorry Jim couldn't make it, but excuse me. Hopefully we'll have Jim on at another day. And thanks to Mark Mancini, as I just said. Guys, next Friday, my guest will be Shane Matthews, former Florida Gator, Hall of Famer there at the University of Florida, SEC Player of the Year, Steve Spurrier's first quarterback, played very ably in the National Football League for quite a few years. And I'm looking forward to talking to Shane, who's also got a podcast, Pot up with Shane in the morning. I know I'm doing that wrong, but we'll watch my promo later. You'll have it right. And really a really popular podcast that he does about Florida Gator football, SEC football, and sports in general. Great stuff. Looking forward to having him on Friday. Guys, we're way over this morning. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great Sunday afternoon. The Lord of... I don't know what exactly I'm the Lord of. I don't know what my plot of land in Scotland is actually called. Guys, have a great weekend. Keep Angle. Weekend or great Sunday. Keep Angle.
See right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, you guys any